I think we're live. I don't know. Hold on. What's happening? Am I on the internet? I don't know. I feel like, oh, okay. Here we are. Oh, we're live. Yeah. Hello. Happy Wednesday.
Hi. Wednesday.
So I'm here with my friend Devin Hardaway.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we know each other?
You came into my music class to teach musical theater.
That's right. So we were both part-time teachers at a school in Tampa called the Sullivan School, which is connected with Metropolitan Ministries. Mm-hmm. Hold on. Allergies. Welcome to Florida. I still have them. And those kids were in that school because their parents were in a program to get out of homelessness.
Yes,
they were. And so you were there 2 or 3 times a week?
Yeah, so I was the music teacher there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I was the second music teacher at another school in Hillsborough County.
Okay.
On Tuesday, Thursday.
And so I would go in every Wednesday. I was brought in through the Patel Conservatory to go in every Wednesday and teach musical theater. So she taught music 3 days a week. I went in 1 day a week for a full school day, and we did a lot of Hakuna Matata.
And Jingle Bells.
And Jingle Bells. We did a Christmas show together. That was actually so precious.
Yeah. I wish somebody would have filmed that.
It was so cute. I made up my own choreography.
Yes.
Wasn't bad.
And, I think I would have to say what? First grade was probably...
Was first grade the best?
They showed out, yeah.
Yeah, first grade was the best. But we bonded because these kids had come from rough backgrounds and unstable backgrounds. They weren't the easiest to discipline. They weren't the easiest to teach things like improv games and acting games, even though once they did calm down, it was so much fun for them. But we bonded over going, oh my, how are we going to do this? What do you want us to do now? Wait. So it was challenging, but in a really great way.
And it's so much fun. Like, when you think about it, kids are the type of people, they're little people, but they're the type that it doesn't matter. And as a kid, I was like that too. It was like, if it comes up, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
So it's always fun. It's really fun just seeing, that's not where we were going with this, but I'll go with it.
We're going to go there now. The really great thing, the really big blessing Devin was in my life is that before she had taken on that job for the rest of the school year, I had had a couple of substitutes in that position that I'd worked with who didn't really understand the needs of that type of child.
Yeah.
So we were just chasing our tails. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I understood it because I'd never worked with that kind of child before. So we were just chasing our tails, and I was this close to telling the Patel, thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to have to exit stage right. And then Devin showed up, and the way she spoke to children was life-changing for me. And I'd been an educator for 8 years.
Really?
Oh, totally. Oh, 100%. I told you guys. Have I not? Did I just say this to myself?
No.
Oh. Yeah. Yes. The way she spoke to these children in particular was life-changing to me because you spoke to them with authority but with so much love. But, now I think about it, that was probably, 95% Black?
Actually, yeah, I'll say 95% Black, 4% multicultural, and maybe 1% Caucasian.
I do think that they listened to, you came in and said, sit down and be quiet. And they said, yes, ma'am. And when I'm over here, I'm 4'11".
Well, my kids know. They know how to get it together.
Yeah. You had chants that would make them be quiet. I was like, she's magical. And so then I stayed. And then we had a lot of fun. So that's how we became friends.
Yeah.
But we found out very quickly we had a lot in common. We grew up very similar ways with similar interests. We both love theater, both love Jesus. We both love the same type of books. I mean, we just had music. We just had we had a lot in common. So it was a quick friendship.
Oddly enough, we really did.
It was a quick friendship. So tell everybody your background with school and.
Well, let's see. I graduated from high school.
Good.
I went to undergrad at Fort Valley State University, and I majored in English technical writing. And then, for some reason, I decided to go to law school.
I knew you majored in English technical writing. That sounds just like you. I'm gonna pick this thing that's the hardest, and this like
that. It was quite interesting, and I think like that that whole realm came from one professor turned mentor.
I love it.
And I was like,
okay,
maybe this will work. But yeah, so then I decided to go to law school. It was a lot of fun.
Law school?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to law school?
I went to law school at Western Michigan University.
Okay.
Thomas and McCooley Law School.
Great.
And they have a campus here in Florida, so I got to skip the harsh winters.
Yeah, that's nice. So you did go to law school here in Florida, and it was fun.
To me, yes. I enjoyed it. I'm not to say that fun outweighs hard.
Sure.
Because it wasn't easy, but law school was fun, and I think the way that I approach a lot of things in life is different from the norm. So
I would agree.
By it being fun to me made it less challenging, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
If you want to say that. I
No.
think because sometimes it's all about your attitude.
Yes.
How you approach things. So it was terrifying.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
I can't imagine. I would be terrified. Law school, I just can't. I remember when you told me that working with these kids, I was like, wow, what are you doing here? Why are you here? But you're studying for the bar.
Yeah. And, I started teaching in the, right before my second year of law school. And it was nice to have that break.
Yeah.
Not necessarily break, but
different world.
I would be able to deal with the kid world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And have fun with that.
Yeah.
And then go into the adult world.
Yeah.
Because it's completely different.
You're so good with kids too.
But yeah, you just I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm incredibly impressed with you, always have been. You're an incredibly generous person. You're one of the only people that we became friends really quickly.
Yeah.
And then in that quick time, you got to know me so well. You asked such good questions, probably why you're going to be a good lawyer. You asked such good questions that by the time Christmas rolled around, you got me books that I still have in use, and gifts that I still have in use that were exactly right for me.
And you have mine too, even though, the whole coronavirus decided to cut some things short.
The light just went off. I don't know how to turn it back on. Sorry, y'all. I think they can still see us, though. No more light.
But yeah, so it was one of those things we just kind of, when you click, you just click.
Yeah, yeah.
And it works.
So I felt really comfortable sitting with you today and asking you some of these questions because I'm not black.
You are?
I'm not. I know. Everyone thinks I'm black.
Wait. I'm not white.
What?
No.
You could have fooled me. I'm leaving. I'm going to go figure out how to turn the light on. I really don't know why it's off. Yeah, and so I don't feel like I get to, one of the things I said to my friend Darlene is that I'm finding a really hard time talking about this at all because I don't know this. I don't want to sound like, not like poor as me, but I don't feel like I have the right to because it's not.
Well, I think you should change that.
Okay.
I don't think you should say you don't have the right to talk because, one, First Amendment, hello. You have the right to talk about anything you want to talk about. But I think that, if anything, it's more of a privilege that you have to talk about it.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like, if you do talk about it, if you do ask the questions, you're doing more good than you could possibly do harm.
Okay.
It's literally, you cannot go wrong with talking about it. The only way you could go wrong is not talking about it.
It's pretending like it's not happening.
Right.
Do you have any tips on how someone like me who loves to live in her world of ignorance, I just love to pretend like things aren't bad in the world, how can start opening up conversations with maybe their Black coworkers, their Black friends, maybe even just a neighbor that they're not really close to?
I would say everybody likes to live in their own world sometimes. Every now and then, as long as you don't stay there,
Yeah.
you have to venture out every now and then. So I would say,
Like, is it okay for me to say, "Are you okay right now?" Or
yeah,
is that
no,
that's
okay. That's a good question. That I can honestly say that I have several friends that are white, Caucasian, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
and like not associates but friends.
Okay.
And it's one of
Friends,
those
yeah.
things where sometimes that's all it takes. And are you okay? Or how are you feeling? Or do you want to vent? Or
okay.
anything like that is enough to just be like, okay,
The door's open.
yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes, I'm dramatic.
Yes.
So I've been told. But, I mean,
I'm a little dramatic too.
it's one of those things where it's just like you get comfortable around people, and it's like you want it to be open as to where you don't feel like, oh, I have to be politically correct, or oh, I
Right.
can't do this, or I can't do that.
That's what's
When
scary
I'm
to
around
me.
my friends, they take me any way I come.
That's-
Sometimes it's this way, sometimes it's that way, sometimes we're just all over the place. But the reason that they're my friends is because they take me for that.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care, and a lot of the times I'll have people that can say what I want to say, and like take it and make it sound exactly how I wanted it to sound.
Yeah.
Except when I say it, it's either from frustration or sadness or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
So they get it.
They get it.
It's just
So opening the door is it's fine politically. Like, that's politically correct. Just saying, hey, how are you feeling right now? Do you want to vent?
yeah.
Anything on
But
your
at the
mind?
same time, don't open the door and just be a fly on the wall.
Okay.
You have to be engaging. Like, you have to
Okay, that's
actually
really good.
listen. That's one of those things. Like, so many people now, they'll ask you a question, but they don't want the answer.
That's right.
They'll ask you a question, they'll just be sitting there, and you could be talking for hours and hours, and it'll be like, what'd you say?
Ugh.
Yeah, so if you open the door,
Open it.
sit at the table.
Oh, that's good. That's a tweetable moment. We're gonna find them. If you open the door, sit at the table. Sit at the table. Because I think, in conversation, so many of us have gotten used to this whole it's waiting for my turn to talk
Mm-hmm.
instead of actually genuinely listening to you and what you're saying.
Yeah.
But right now, this is how I feel about my Black friends is that it's time for me to listen. Not just because, not like it's my duty or something, not like it's my duty, but because I'm curious, because I don't understand what it feels like to be you, because this seems so big, so overwhelming to me. I at least want to make that connection I have to you and listen to what you have to say about how it feels to you. And it's going to feel different from one Black friend to the next, and I know that. But the more I talk about it, the more I understand, the more I feel comfortable, what side I'm fighting on and what for.
Yeah, I can understand that. So it's one of those things like, one of my things that I do is I act and then I apologize later. So it's kind of one of those things like you just say it, and if you say it the wrong way, like I said, they'll fix it for you.
Yeah. Okay. If your heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
So we do have questions we're going to ask Devin today. They're the same questions we asked Darlene and Denzel. Have you seen anything like this before at this level, and what does it feel like to you personally?
Well, yeah. It seems like it's like a roller coaster, almost.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be at its height. I remember my first actual deep memory was when I was in high school. the Jenna 6, that would have been like the peak.
Okay.
And I'll say it went downhill a little bit. Like everything seemed to calm down, even though it really wasn't calm.
Was that the little girls?
No, Jenna 6 was the 6 boys that were.
Is it the one that the Netflix documentary is on right now?
No.
No. Oh my gosh. Do I not know this one?
You might not, but it's okay.
No, it's not.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to let you be informed real quick in the middle of this live because, you know, I don't really know how to do live anyway. So
please inform us. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We're talking to Devin today about what it's like to be a young Black woman right now.
All right,
in
so
America.
Just read that word.
The Jenna 6 were 6 Black teenagers in Jenna, Louisiana, convicted in the 2006 beating of Justin Barker, a white student at a local Jenna high school, which they also attended. Barker was injured on December 4th, 2006, by the members of the Jenna 6 and received treatment at an emergency room.
That is the Wikipedia version.
Okay. Okay.
This is the real story.
In August 2006, a Black student in Jenna, Louisiana, asked if he could sit under a tree on campus or if it was reserved for whites. This is in 2006?
Mm-hmm.
3 nooses hung from the tree the next day. What? In December, 6 Black boys brutally beat a white student, and 5 of the suspects were charged with attempted murder. Black talk radio hosts and civil rights leaders nationwide protested the charges. Have the demonstrations helped the U.S. move closer to racial justice? Okay, so the boys did beat up the other boys.
It was a fight.
They had a fight.
Yeah.
But that boy was responsible for hanging nooses from the tree the other boy wanted to sit under?
Allegedly. That's what we'll say. But the nooses were there, so that's true. We don't know who hung them or whatnot, but we're just going to go with that. So the reason was it was unjust to charge them with attempted murder over a fight.
Of course, it was a fight. I mean,
because, you know, if it were the other way around, sadly, if it were white boys that beat up a Black boy, he wouldn't have been brutally beat.
He wouldn't have been brutally beat.
And if he just sustains minor injuries.
Minor injuries. You're exactly right. We've read this time and time again. But the boys did not get in trouble for hanging the nooses. Or the culprit of the nooses never was.
Well, more stuff transpired after that. The tree was ultimately, I believe it was burned and then removed or something along those lines. But yeah, but my experience with that was when that happened, we had buses go down there, like to march. That was my first experience with actually like marching and protesting.
How old were you?
It was
2006.
2006. I was 15.
You were 15. Yeah, because we're about 10 years apart. Yeah, I would have been about 25.
But yeah, so that was like my first like memorable type of experience.
Wow.
And then like, even though everybody couldn't go, like everybody's still on campus, like for a while, everybody was in solidarity with them because it was kind of one of those things like you understand because it's not something that's new. So when you say, have I seen this before? Maybe not this particular way, but it's always some type of injustice that I've seen. Or some type of issue that is unfairly increased on Black people. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just...
What do you say, okay, so what do you say to people, and there are people out there saying that this isn't real, and what I mean by that is they're saying that they believe that Black people in America are 100% equal to the white people in America, that this is just... news. It's just, you know, it's just fluff.
What do I say?
What would you say? Yeah. I need help with that one.
Well, after I get off the floor from laughter, yeah. So
scrape you off the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's nice to think that way, but you can think one way, but what are you watching? What are you paying attention to?
Okay.
Because clearly you gotta be able to see it a different way.
You have to, yeah. That it's just so far from the truth that
yeah. And I think a lot of people like to discount the fact that we had a black president or someone that was half black in the White House, and they think, oh, now we're all equal. It doesn't really work like that.
Amen. Thank you for saying that, Devin. I mean, haven't you guys heard that?
It doesn't.
Of course we're equal. We even had a black president. People are still dying.
It doesn't work like that. And realistically, from like the amazing professors, con law professor that I have, he does talks on ABC Action News and stuff like that. But one thing I learned is that the president doesn't have that much power.
Okay.
He's kind of,
I'm not going to comment on how I feel about that right now.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, realistically, yeah, he was the face, and he did get a lot of things that were done.
Yeah.
But it's like,
but that doesn't mean that we're changed in our hearts. It doesn't mean that the heart of America understands the problem at hand.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, sometimes when you're fighting a losing battle, or you're going in circles, basically, even, okay, let's say if we have another black president, let's say, and the world's still the same way it is, this is how it's going to go.
Maybe she's going to be female. I don't know. I'm just saying. Woman black president.
So
America.
Let me focus.
I'm sorry.
No, okay, so this is how it would go. Basically, if I were president and I did have an idea, and you were my running mate, and you had an idea too, and we were like, okay, so let's see if we can do this idea. We can't do it unless it's something that's directly in the position, the powers of the president.
Oh, right, because he doesn't have power.
When it comes to making laws, that's Congress. So that's the House, Senate, all that stuff. And if they don't pass it, you kind of just, we tried. So we can try again. And so that's how you get in that cycle. But it's kind of like it doesn't negate the fact that there's still issues. And
you know what? I should have asked you, what kind of law do you want to practice?
Criminal.
And what made you want to practice criminal law?
Well, so I had the pleasure of experiencing the state attorney's office here in Florida, Tampa. And my experience there it kind of like planted a seed. And it was one of those things where I was like, that is the best way that I could effectuate change immediately, as opposed to writing legislation and waiting for this and that and things to change. Being there. And a lot of people see it as being part of the problem, but I see it as being part of the solution.
That's amazing.
But, people have mixed emotions about it. I've had some attorneys tell one of my good friends, actually, that by him being a prosecutor, he was part of the problem. And my thoughts on that would be, you would want me to be a prosecutor. Because the prosecutor is the person who decides as to whether or not to file charges.
Right.
And if you don't have anybody that's actually willing in there to go through the arrest report, go through all the evidence, case by case, before they decide, then that's when you start having unfair charges being brought. You have a corruptness. And then you're like, so would you rather have someone be your defense attorney with no power? Well, they have power, but not very much, as opposed to someone that can nip it in the bud before it even blows up.
Right.
It's one of those things
like, a lot of sense
and then even if you did do the crime, the thing is, a prosecutor has discretion to determine or to ask for specific charges. I mean, and then especially lately it's been going around where they'll have score sheets
Right.
Of a white man and score sheets of a black man. They have the same score. The black man got, I think, life, and the white guy got like probation or something.
This is actually out in like the public. You can look at them.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like a meme now, but that's the thing. Like, has there been some? And I know that the judges play a role in that too, in sentencing, but you got to think about it.
Right.
If you don't have anybody that's at least willing to look, like there might not be much that the prosecutor can do, but if you don't have anybody that's at least willing to look, instead of just take everybody that had the case before you, everybody's word, because I mean, prosecutors have a big caseload, but I'm willing to work on weekends. I don't have a life. I mean, like if I think it's a charge where I'm just like, I don't think we can prove that, and I don't want anybody to try to make up evidence or anything like that. It's kind of one of those things, like, you have to be able to be a part of the solution. And
so you really are invested in looking at race in America when it comes to criminal activity and behavior, and making sure that you become a part of that solution when it comes to equality there.
Yeah, because criminal justice reform is very important.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you don't realize it. I mean, I luckily never had to experience the law, like the other side of the criminal justice system, but I mean,
you just weren't caught.
I'm just a safe kid.
You are a safe kid.
I was a boring kid.
You read a lot. You were
really boring.
You were reading a lot. How do you feel about the protesting? Or we talked about you marching, but how do you feel about like the rioting and the looting and kind of like the violent behavior?
Honestly, I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised. I just keep hearing that time to time. It's like every time I ask one of my black friends, how do you feel about rioting and looting? It's not like they're like, go rioting and go, but they're like,
it doesn't surprise me. We try to do things the proper way, or the way that the majority would like us to do them, and it falls on deaf ears, or nothing
gets killed.
Yeah, nothing gets done.
Yeah.
So when we do it our way, maybe a little bit more happens. But at the same time, it's just like, buildings have insurance, people don't.
Right. That's exactly right. Another tweetable. Buildings have insurance, people don't. I know we're talking about human life here. We're not just talking about, I don't feel good about myself. No, we're talking about people who are getting killed unjustly, put in prison for life, which is, you might as well take away their life unjustly. What Denzel said, it's like a toddler, and children, if they're trying to tell you something, like, think about our sweet baby angels who really did have some severe mental disabilities at Sullivan, who would try to tell us, I can't sit with this noise.
Yeah.
I can't sit with it. And they weren't great at verbalizing it. A lot of them didn't have a lot of words, but if we did not hear them.
I had many lax sits.
But some of them would get very, like, I'm going to throw this chair now. Or maybe not as, violent as that, but
It's one of those things where, even with children, if you try to respond calmly so many times and it's ignored. You do whatever you need to do to get the attention so somebody will listen.
And help. Yeah. Like, that's all it ever was for us. They just, remember we had that stack. It was like, it was in an art room, so it was like the metal.
Oh, yeah.
And it held the painting. When you were done with your painting, you would put it in there to dry.
God bless the art teacher.
But that thing would get kicked, it was metal, so it was like.
And then one side, it's like a tree shedding its leaves. All the papers would go.
But if we didn't listen, and more often than not, thank you, Walter. Hi, Walter Parker. More often than not, what those children were trying to say to us is, I'm hurt and I'm scared.
Yeah.
Or this is painful. And if we weren't listening, because we were like, we're Hakuna Matata, the third, get 5, 6, 7, 8, then they would start kicking stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what's happening in America right now.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, sometimes you have to throw a temper tantrum.
Sometimes you have to.
I would say that, the last time I threw a temper tantrum, 2017.
You remember?
Yes, it was a great temper tantrum. I felt really good after. I felt really good
You were a
after.
solid adult in 2017.
Yes.
Were you like?
It was mostly out of frustration and understanding. It was while I was studying.
Did you shave your head and take an umbrella to a car?
No. I threw books inside of the study room and walked out.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, it's just like sometimes you just have to get it out.
And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
What do you wish your white friends knew at a core level?
Oh.
I know that's a hard. Do you want me to come back to that?
No.
Like at a core, like that. I don't know because I am not black.
Okay. I have two avenues. I don't think that I would tell them that I don't think that they should compare being black with anything else.
Oh, okay.
Because the thing is, it's not comparable to anything.
Okay. Got it. Got that.
Like you have, for example, like there's been a meme a long time ago and probably still now, I don't know, but there was how when you put slavery out there and you put civil rights, people are all like, forget about it, like get over it. But you put something like the Holocaust out there or 9/11 and you're like, never forget.
Never forget. Wow.
So I would just like to say that it's not that simple.
You don't. Why? Why should we forget about it?
Right.
Right.
So it's one of those things like you shouldn't compare being black to anything else because it's not like anything else.
It's not like anything else. Okay. I get that. I hear that loud and clear. Thank you. I think that that's really well said. I think I've been trying to make the jump to understand, women are discriminated.
Yeah.
I try to think about what it's like to be a woman in different workplaces and, but that's not like it either,
Because, well, in a sense, it isn't because now you don't have to stay your gender. If you don't like it, you can change it.
Oh my God,
I'm gonna
that's
be black
true.
forever.
That's exactly right. That's
So
true.
it's one of those things like if you don't like something, they say change it. But the thing is, one, I love being black first, but two, it's one of those things like it's who I am. It's me. It's never gonna go away.
It's never gonna go away.
So that's why you can't really. There's nothing to compare it to aside from being black. Just being black compared to being black.
Right. Right.
There's nothing to compare it to. So I wish that, and I know it's coming from a good place when people try to compare it to something, but it's not working.
It's not working. Okay. So stop comparing being black to anything else. Got it?
Yes.
Okay.
And then one other thing is something that I discussed with one of my friends. I get the whole I have black friends thing. I get it. However, don't use that as an excuse.
Okay.
Because while I have white friends,
Mm-hmm.
I also have black friends.
Mm-hmm.
You have white friends,
Mm-hmm.
and you also have black friends. So if you and I are together, and then one of your white friends comes in, and they say something that I would find offensive,
Racist.
your job as both of our friends is not to say, oh, well, he doesn't know any better.
Okay. Okay, got it. Got it. Did you guys get that? Got it.
For a long time, it's like we're just expected to accept or to get over or to
our white friends' ignorance.
Yes. And it's not cool. And it's
not cool.
I mean, granted, I am all for, helping people understand, but it's not our job to correct your friend or anybody else when you are in a better position to correct them or to mention it. Don't just cover it up.
So if I have a friend or a family member who said something like, she's very, this is something that I've heard before about women, but also about black women.
I think I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going? She's very intelligent for a black woman.
Yes.
That's not okay. It's not okay.
Yes.
And it's my job to understand and forgive my friend that they don't know better, but then educate them so they know better.
Yes. And you know, sometimes you can understand in a way that will make them remember.
We'll make
Because who cares if I'm black or a woman?
Right.
I'm just a genius. Like, like that's how that should go. First of all. But
Amen.
yeah.
Amen. I don't care, but there are so many people that do. There are so many people that care that, you know, that are surprised.
Oh, honey. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it's just hard. And I get that some of that stems from some of the stuff we're trying to change, that a lot of young black children aren't getting the same great education that white children are. So I get that it stems from that place of, wow, that's impressive. But not all black children were raised without good education, and some of them that are still geniuses. Like, it doesn't,
Yeah.
you know, like you were talking about your childhood. It was very diverse, and there were a lot of black kids and white kids, and you were given the awesome opportunity to go to law school, but it has nothing to do with the color of your skin.
Right.
It just has to do with your family and how you're like.
It just has to do with the nurturing part, and that's another thing. Like, in order to not sound cliche, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Racism is taught.
Yeah.
You don't grow up. My first best friend was a white girl, and we're still friends. We've been friends for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And we grew up with each other. Like, we went to all the same schools except when we got to high school. We went to different magnet programs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like her family didn't teach her to be racist.
Correct. Do you want to tell the story about being in the front yard?
Nah.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But we
just imagine what it might be.
but yeah, like we would always play together, and it was never an issue like that she was white and I was black.
Right. Because they never taught her to look at you that in a different way than her.
Right. And come to find out, years later, we found out that our parents went to school together.
Oh.
And they didn't realize it. But it's just one of those things, like, it's not something that is always, like, there. Like, the first thing I noticed, oh, she's white.
Right. Right. No.
Like, it doesn't work like that. So it is taught. So the best way you could help would be to teach your kids how to love humans, as opposed to what color somebody is. And
it goes so deep, you know, because you can start there, but teaching our children that we don't have the right to judge somebody for the lifestyle they choose either. You know, there's this whole Black Trans Lives Matter thing happening right now as well, and just humans, like, so let's talk about that. Okay. How do you feel when someone says, well, of course Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, I don't see color?
Okay.
So, sorry, I have to say, that's my white accent.
Let's unpack that.
All lives matter, I don't see color.
First, we'll start with the all. Oh, the lights came back on. First, we'll start with the all lives matter. And that's the thing, like, okay, if all lives matter, then why do you take an issue with Black Lives Matter?
Oh, very well said. That's very well said.
Because you got to think about it. All means every, encompassing as a whole. And you've got white lives, black lives, brown lives, Latino lives, Asian lives, police lives, teacher lives, doctor lives, lawyer lives. Like, you got all those lives.
All the lives. All of the lives. So why are you taking issue?
Why would you take an issue with somebody saying Black Lives Matter? Also, I mean, if all lives do matter, then why are we having this discussion?
Right.
Why is it important for somebody to say Black Lives Matter? Because it's almost like well, all lives matter except Black
Right. Or all lives matter. Don't you know that I don't even see color? Well, then why? Like, and my girlfriend Marissa keeps sharing this illustration on her Facebook page, but not all the houses are on fire. Like in the neighborhood, of course, all the houses matter to the firefighters.
The Black House has been on fire for a long time. I'm surprised it's still standing.
It's still just still there.
Yeah,
but it's on fire.
Structure, foundation.
Just
But yeah, it's and then the whole I don't see color thing. You gotta see it.
It probably comes from a good place.
No. I don't think it comes from a good place.
Actually, Tara,
it comes from a place of pacifying.
Oh, good. Okay.
Or
now
saying exclude me. Like
now we're
I don't see color though. Like, I know you're Black and I know she's white, but I don't see color. So how do you know?
And why then do you care? You know what? You're right. You're exactly right. It's avoidance. I don't want to be a part of this conversation. I'm uncomfortable. We all should be uncomfortable right now. It's uncomfortable. It needs to change. Nothing changes without growing pains.
Yeah.
But if you're going to sit back...
I know a lot about being uncomfortable.
Right. Dear white friends, if you are uncomfortable right now, welcome. Welcome to being
to the party.
The young Black woman here. I mean, you are, being a woman and a young Black woman, you're heading into a predominantly white male industry.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'll say maybe about 4% of lawyers in America are African American Black. And of that 4%, maybe 1.5 to 2% are female.
Okay. Yeah, you're a very tiny part of that industry. And Devin made a great point earlier when I said that. She said, well, a lot of industries are predominantly white males. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So, white friends, if you're uncomfortable, welcome to the club. It's time. It's time to be uncomfortable and speak up and admit that you see color and admit that Black Lives Matter and admit that, of course, yes, all lives matter, but Black lives are on fire right now. The house is on fire.
Yeah.
Please send the firefighters to that house. Please.
Yeah.
And
it's quite interesting, but
now
sorry. I will say though,
I'll let you talk.
being I think I've been extremely blessed not to have experienced the racism in the legal world from the people that matter.
Extremely blessed. You're really good at that, by the way, something we can all learn from Devin. She's very good at not letting her ego take over. If somebody says something mean, offensive to you, you're kind of like, I'm not going to let it come in.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, it's not ignoring it, but it's knowing that there's a better way. I will never excuse it.
Yeah.
However, I know that half the time people do things to get a reaction because then that's when they can label you, the angry Black woman, or there's a point to every little ounce of jabs or whatever that you might receive, be it from a Black male in the legal field telling me, I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't do that. Okay, well, I'm going to do what I want to do.
That's exactly right.
My father appreciates it, so
that's all that matters.
Right. Or from, a white male. And I will say that for the most part, when it comes to like the legal community, I will say that I haven't been directly hindered or discriminated against or anything like that.
Good.
Now, I do know other people that have, though.
Yeah.
And
you do. Yeah, you know their stories.
And it's kind of like, why it's like, you pick and choose.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like, if I see it and I witness it, I'm going to say something about it.
Good.
I've always been one of those people. I think I've already said this before, but I'll do first and apologize later.
Yeah.
And I think when I see something that's being done that's wrong, or when I see something that just shouldn't happen to somebody, whether I know them personally or not, but we have a working relationship or something like that.
Right.
I'm gonna say something.
Okay. And I mean, I'm glad that you're bringing this up, because I haven't been super sensitive to racism in the workplace, and now I will be. Do you know what I mean?
There.
Yeah, of course it is.
But yeah, I
Of course
can
it
see
is.
how. I mean,
But I think I've lived in a bit of a white bubble in that aspect in the workplace. I don't think that I've been.
I'll say I could agree with that, but you also have to think about it. Your profession, you're always with people, and it's easy for Black people to cover up.
Okay.
And it's
That's
easy to
fascinating.
look. It's easy to look like everything's okay on the outside, but literally like you're dying on the inside.
How is that something we change? Because I don't want anyone to cover up with me.
Well, this. By talking.
Okay.
And then another way you could change it, especially for the people that don't care to talk, because some people just don't care.
Sure.
And you know what?
Yeah.
That's fine. If that's you, that's you. But just because I'm opinionated, or just because I have something to say, first, you need to listen.
Okay.
And two, I'm not angry. I'm not aggressive. I'm just telling you what it is.
Right.
Like, it's
just telling you that this was behavior.
Don't give me the excuse of, you need to calm down. Because telling somebody to calm down that's already calm is counterproductive.
It's very counterproductive. Very counterproductive.
Because if you would like me to not be calm anymore, tell me to calm down.
Do that.
But yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things, like, whenever it's kind of like a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the puppy makes a mess in the house, and the puppy thinks that you're going to chastise it, but all you're really going to do is, sit them down and be like, no,
Teach, educate.
don't do this,
Yeah.
and then clean it up.
That's really hard.
That's
for
kind
us
of like
humans.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they get on the defensive, and they're like, well, I didn't do.
I didn't mean it that way.
You did.
You did. You did. And even if you didn't hear it the way it came out, and now you hear it, the best thing for all of, and this is so hard for me, but the best thing for all of us to do is admit that it came out that way, admit that it affected you in that way, and apologize, and try to not do it again, like.
I will say that I am probably the queen of that.
Yeah.
There have been times in my life where I had the intentions of an angel with what it was in my head.
Yeah, I've had.
And the way it came out, it was like, that's not good. Like, I didn't mean it like that. Luckily, most of the people that I've had that happen to, they understood.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, clearly.
But you admitted that you heard it, and you weren't on the I'm right pedestal.
Right. It was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
My bad.
So
please don't hate me.
We are almost at an hour, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
I know. So we're going to go through these last few questions. Are there any resources that you can recommend? Now, a resource for me is easy as like following somebody new on Twitter that's going to educate me better, or following somebody on YouTube, but also books,
I actually, there's a book called White Privilege.
White Privilege.
I think it's called White Privilege.
Okay.
And there's another book called The New Jim Crow.
The New Jim Crow.
Yes.
Okay, so both
Neither of these books are new. However,
You
if
recommend?
you want to learn something, and I know we have that book connection, so
Yeah.
if you want to learn something, I would say read it. When I was in undergrad, I did my senior capstone on the new Jim Crow.
Got it. Great.
One's written from a black perspective, one's written from a white perspective.
Interesting. Ooh, I like that. That's the new Jim Crow.
Got it at my house if you want.
I'll borrow it.
But-
Yes, please. Okay, white
But
privilege
yeah.
and the new Jim Crow.
Also, realistically, you can go on Instagram, you can go on Facebook, you can go on Twitter, and sometimes it doesn't even matter. You can literally follow,
Okay.
right now anyway, you can
Yeah.
follow any black person that has a voice.
That has
or
a
that
voice.
feels a need. I find that they have something to say, and it's really important.
It's really important.
And it's very informative.
Okay.
You know, and another thing you can do is check your facts.
Check your facts.
Check
Check your facts.
your facts.
Check your
Because
facts.
Everything's not always how it's reported,
Yeah.
or everything's not always how people perceive it. Everybody's perception
right.
is completely different.
That's right. And perception is reality.
Yes.
How can I make myself an ally for years to come? I know that right now, this might look like I'm jumping on some bandwagon because, Black Lives let me be a part of it. But for me, it's time for me to change the way that I look at fellow humans and continue down. I want to help in the way I raise my son. I want, how do I continue to make myself an ally for years to come?
Well, I feel like you've already done it. I can't say that. I think everybody has implicit bias. So I would be like, okay, the only thing you could probably really do would be to check your implicit bias in
Okay.
any situation.
Okay.
White people, black people,
Check my
everybody. Before you act or before you do something, just within yourself, check your implicit bias because everybody has it.
Everybody. Yep.
And then you just make sure you keep raising Zeke right.
Okay.
Because maybe you won't be able to change things in our lifetime.
Mhm.
However, with Zeke, the way that I've seen you raise him so far is a way that if you keep watering it and you keep feeding him and you keep just speaking everything great into that, you're going to change the lives of children that aren't even born yet.
Oh, okay. Gosh.
Because that's how you break that.
Yeah.
And that little boy loves everybody.
Everybody.
He doesn't
Loves
care.
everybody.
He loves everybody and everything. And I could literally go to him and be like, "What color am I?" And he'll be like, "You have on a black shirt."
That's exactly right.
Or something like that.
No, you know what he would say to you? He would say, "You're the pink Power Ranger."
So,
That's what he would say.
didn't he call me that before? Or was
What
it the
color?
yellow? What was it? It was the yellow.
He's
Power
the gold
Ranger.
one right now. His dad is the red one. If you said, "What color am I?" he would be like, "Blue Power Ranger." It would not have anything to do with your skin.
Right.
Which is, wouldn't it be lovely if we all just looked at people as Power Ranger colors?
I like it. I mean, I love yellow, so I'd want to
I love
do
yellow too. Yeah.
But yeah, you just gotta keep trying. It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Oh gosh. No, I can't do that. Oh,
It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
No,
but
no.
you just gotta keep going.
Okay, fine. All right. Did we already answer this one? What are some
Which
things
one?
that I can do as a white woman? Oh, do you find that this? Okay, so I really am curious. Jeez, Devin, about this. Do you think there's anything that I can do as a white woman easily that you can't? Like, am I privileged in some way that I don't even know, and I can know?
Mhm.
Okay, what?
I don't know if you've heard this before, but the white woman is the most protected person in the world.
Denzel just told me this, and I was like, I don't know where he got that.
And the black woman is the most disrespected and unprotected.
and unprotected. That makes me so sad.
It is what, no, I'm just kidding. But no, it's one of those things like,
It makes me so sad.
first, it would just be nice that, one, you don't deny, like, privilege exists.
Yes.
I mean,
it's the same thing as if you say I don't see color.
Right.
It's
It's
privilege
there.
is real.
The thing is how you choose to use your privilege.
Okay.
And it doesn't always have to be like fighting for Black people or all this and all that. It doesn't have to be that political. Sometimes it's just helping somebody or just making sure that you teach your other white female friends with the privilege that it's okay. Like right now, I know that in the Black community, we're protecting Black men, yes, but at the same time, who's going to protect us?
Yeah.
And Black men are finally, realizing they're like, oh crap, maybe, we did let it slide just a little bit, but they're getting it back together, which I can definitely appreciate, because it's kind of like the same thing. Like we might have started the trail of justice with Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, but Breonna Taylor is still there. Like, she still matters.
She still matters.
And it's kind of like, and I think that's another thing that annoys people, because it's like, well, we just helped you do this, that, and the other. Well, no. You might have helped us do that, but there's still so much left.
So much.
Like there's still those two compared to the hundreds, maybe even thousands of others. That's less than 1%.
That's right.
And so it's kind of like we get into this thing where people think, oh, well, I'm so tired of hearing about this, but we're tired of dying.
Right. That's right. Right. And I'm sure you're tired of feeling, you just said to me that the Black woman is the most disrespected and unprotected. I don't know what it's like for you to be walking around at night somewhere alone. I don't know what it's like, but I can't imagine what it would feel like to wake up every day and not feel like, if I walk out into the world, that the world, right now, you're right, I do feel like the world has my back.
Like this. We could walk out of here. God, please don't let this happen. we could walk out of here and somebody could snatch your purse.
Right.
You will have 80,000 witnesses.
Right.
That would be like, oh, he went there, and you'll probably get your purse back in 30 minutes.
Some guy will be like, here's your purse.
Same thing could happen to me. And they'll be like, I didn't see anything.
Oh my God.
But it goes deeper. Like, it's not just crime. Black women are dying in childbirth more than they should. And it's because doctors don't listen. They think our pain doesn't matter.
Oh.
They think that we're exaggerating. They think that
I didn't know this.
We can take more. Like, when my mom, well, I hope she doesn't care, but when my mom was having my sister, it was one of those things where she had to have an emergency cesarean. And so this was like before, the epidural stuff. They had them, but I don't think she had one.
Right.
Because she was supposed to be put to sleep.
Right, of course.
She was awake. And when, luckily she had a good doctor. And, she said something. She was like, am I supposed to feel you? Like, she was talking.
Yeah.
And so he was like, no, you're not supposed to. And so they stopped everything and put her to sleep.
Wow.
But that's the thing, she got lucky. Because what if she was awake the whole time?
I can't imagine. Oh, my God.
And something happened. But then you have, which is why it's important, we have Black doctors, but it's the same. It's not very many. And then you have, well, there go the lights again. And then you have, you could literally be in pain. And for somebody to come to you and be like, you'll be fine. And I got a 10-pound baby coming out of me. I've never had kids, but I could imagine.
No, I can't see. I never.
So it's kind of like one of those things, it's just nice for people to listen to us
Yeah.
and actually believe what we're saying, because
Start listening.
the best person to tell you about you is you.
It's you. Well, that's why I wanted to ask you here today. We've reached an hour. Can you believe that? It went by
Honestly,
so fast.
it went so fast.
It did.
I was
Exactly
so
what I was
anxious.
like,
I was like,
work with you.
I don't know if I got enough to talk about for an hour.
We could keep talking.
Yes.
But I want to end this video the same way I have the others, with the way that Zeke says goodbye to his friends. No matter whether they're the blue Power Ranger or the pink Power Ranger. He says, I love your heart. And I do.
I love your heart too.
And I want to thank you for educating us today. It is not your job to educate me, because I'm white and you're black. And I know that. I want everyone to know that I know that. But I asked you because, like I said, I look up to you. You're one of the most intelligent people I know.
Really?
Really,
Oh no,
lady.
I'd be winging it.
You were so smart. And I know you had a lot to say about this, because I know your heart. And the way I feel is that anybody with a Christ-like heart right now is sad and hurt or angry,
Yeah.
I
You can't hide behind Christ either, though.
You can't hide behind Christ. You're
It's
right.
one of those things like that's an issue that I take with some of my fellow Christians or believers or whatever you have it, is they what is it? Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white. Yeah, that's not what it is.
That's
Or
not
they'll
what-
use the Bible to interpret how they want it
Sure.
to be, but they
But they're not
miss the
listening.
Old Testament.
They're not
Kinda
listening to the truth,
Yeah.
right? They're not listening to what, because this is what I believe. I believe that if Jesus were on earth right now, he would be in the center of the protests. He would be right there with them,
I could agree.
fighting for this. And so to say, I'm good, is not enough.
I mean, but he's there, so it doesn't matter. He's just not in human form, and it's gonna get a bit better.
Okay.
Maybe the one thing that I can hope is that we turn the minority into the majority when it comes to people that are against racism and people that are willing to not stand for it. And we turn the current majority, which is the people who are racist and they believe that
It's
all
okay.
types of random things that I refuse to repeat.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can make them
That
the
we just
minority. Just shift it.
shift
Because
it.
it's not going to end in my lifetime.
Right.
But that could be
That could
amazing.
be amazing. It could be a major shift if we just start looking at people and, what did you say? Check yourself, check your bias.
Oh, your implicit bias.
Your
yeah.
implicit bias before you make decisions about who they are. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about what it's like to be you.
Well, that's good. When we were at work, when we were supposed to be working, we used to just sit and talk. So
We would just do
it kind of
this.
feels like we were.
I swear we're going to get off here. Actually, I have hair in 20 minutes, and it's been my first haircut since COVID. So, I'm
Oh,
coming, Leo.
I kind of like the long hair.
You do.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Just a trim.
I'm a true crime junkie, and she's going to be in criminal law, so we would just sit and talk about like serial killers, and next week, Devin and I discuss Ted Bundy. It would be fun. I love you.
I love you too. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having me.
Thanks for doing this. Maybe we'll do it again.
Honestly, why not?
You guys have any questions for Devin? She's available, I'm sure, to answer them.
Why not?
I just put you out there.
You got questions, and maybe we'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah, maybe we might. Everybody have a good day.
Bye.
Lead with love. Bye. Okay. Are you going to be able to choose if you want to save it?